Kenneth Bird. My company is Crystal Edge Technology Screens. You'll hear Kitty Kaboom in the background. She's doing some training on her toys and her scratch posts and everything else. All right, so from time to time, you'll see her running across the camera. All right, so I'm going to try to explain to people this. This to us is not a game. All right, this is not a game for us. This is not something where it's a back and forth tug of war game. We have our technology and what we make and what we design is completely different from this individual. Test demonstrations we have to put our products under are completely different. Projectors we run off are completely different, which means we do with projector swap outs in the middle of demonstrations, which you don't do in any other demonstrations I have seen, the ones I have researched. We test against all forms of high certified projection screens. We do tests outside, which is very important. We also do different color patterns and tests, just about everything that we could throw at the screen that we could possibly think of to ensure the customer that the product is being tested properly and they are getting the best that they could possibly get. So just jump off the camera, back and forth. Now to this individual, I don't know what it means to him in this business. I really don't. Judging by what I've seen in the videos, he does not take it seriously. The things that he does, you're supposed to show everything. When you do a projection screen setup, you're not supposed to have things in the environment that are going to manipulate or enhance the screen. You're not supposed to do that. You have to have the screen in the environment, or the only thing you can do if you're going to enhance the environment is to make it a little bit more extreme for the screen, so that way, or the product, so that way you can see that you're going on above and beyond to change the structure of the environment to basically show that the screen can survive if you were to up the level in that environment, add more light to it and so forth. But to manipulate certain areas to make the screen look good, that's not good at all, because that means you're short sticking the customers. So we're honest and upfront on our tests. Now, what a lot of people don't realize that when you're developing a screen paint, it is a lot of work. I started my company 12 years ago, and it was a lot of work, designing the website, doing tons of video demonstrations, doing tons of testing against certain screens and projectors, and slowly building my company up with my Lord and Savior, which I dedicate my company to, and getting it where it needs to be. And now I'm at a point in my life with my company. I'm very comfortable. I don't want to be rich. I would like to be rich. That'd be nice. But I could buy more stuff to make more better screens. But like I said, it's a lot of work. And people don't understand that when you run a company will be the hardest thing you will ever achieve in your entire life. We're not saying hardest thing you would achieve. There's some things bigger than that. But it's a lot of work. And I see people saying, well, I want to start my own company. I want to have my own business like you. I said, well, look, here's the bottom line. You could do it. Anybody can do it. But it's going to take everything from you. It's going to give you much back, but it's going to take everything from you. So my business for me is serious. I take it very, very seriously. And this is when it gets the tag back and forth. That's every company does that. Every company does it. You got Coke versus Pepsi, you got Genesis and NES and all that. The little tags back and forth company do that. But when you start going outside certain guidelines and you start tampering with people's copyrighted materials, when you start posting people's addresses online, when you do stuff to potentially try to hurt the other individual, then that's where lawyers get involved. That's where lawyers have to come in and say, okay, look, this is how we have to settle this. When you start spreading vicious rumors or trying to spread vicious rumors that a person's product is not doing what it's supposed to do, it's not functioning correctly, and this is your point of view, and this is how people should see it, and try to persuade them that the product does not work, even though the individual on the other end, and with customers, and with contracts, people he has contracts under, are providing this technology that does actually work. And the other individual is basically coming in and starting these slanders and rumors. This involves lawyers. This involves lawsuits, because now you're basically taking a product and you're trying to convince other people that it doesn't do something that it's supposed to do. And then you're putting scammer and certain words that could potentially hurt the company. This is why lawyers get involved. That part right there is the business part of it all. So that's the part where he made the mistake. The back and forth with testing with screens, it happens. We do this. People do this. I do it with companies all the time. Back and forth test with screens, back and forth test with screens. But we know how to be professional about it. We're not going to walk in and go, hey, screen innovation, we got it here. The screen's a scam. We're not going to put black lacquer over top of it or something to make the screen hot spot, gloss the screen. Sometimes we'll gloss the screen, a little gloss, because because that causes the screen a hot spot on high-end projectors. Little tricks they'll do to tamper with the surface to make it look bad when they put it against their screen to look good. One of the other tricks, ultra short throw projectors. Certain screens don't function well on ultra short throw projectors. If you stick it on ultra short throw projector, they go black, which means the other screen is going to maintain a bright image and the other screen's not going to come up. And if you're advertising that their screens come up black on an ultra short throw projector as proof, and they find that the projector you were using in the video was ultra short throw, knowing that it specifies you can't use that projector, you got sued. Because they can prove that their technology does work, and they can prove what you did in the demonstration that was not real. And this is where lawsuits come in. But as I explained to people, this is a company that I built back in 2012 because I decided that I wanted a better life for myself, and I didn't want to continue to live the life I was living in the neighborhood I was living in, and I wanted to get out of that neighborhood. And this is how I built my life, got my business started, worked every single day, Sundays, birthdays, Christmas, holidays, even some other people's birthdays, which they didn't like. And basically, I mean, you have nightmares about the business not working. What if it doesn't sell? What if nobody buys from me? What if I get too big and I can't handle it? What if this happens? What about the competition? What if no one buys from me because I am African American? Yeah, that crossed my mind a couple of times too. In the first year, I didn't come up on camera. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't stand in front of the camera. I was terrified if people knew that I was a black man, that no one would buy from me because I was black. We go through that. People don't understand. We have that. It happens. We go through that. So I stayed out of the camera because I noticed that everybody in the business that runs this business, there's not too many of my kind in there. So I thought if I showed my skin color, no one would buy from me. So I stayed off camera for 1 year. And a friend of mine would say, "You're going to do it or you're not. Which one is it?" So I popped in front of the camera one time and didn't have any problems. People were buying from me. Didn't change anything. I got a few slurs here and there because that's expected in business. You're going to get a few racial slurs. It happens in business. You know, people, they're going to say some nasty things about you. No problem. I had a guy refer to my paint as in paint. Yep, in a forum site that I went into. So I've been through all that. I've been through the harassments. I've been through the death threats on paint. Lie to you not. Yes, I have. With some interesting people. I'm going to leave it at that. I've been through banned from accounts for showing technology that worked better than others. I have been all kinds of stuff. So I've been through it. I got thick skin. So I'm designed for it. So it doesn't really faze me when this stuff happens because you go through 12 years of that kind of madness. And I'm not saying all of it was bad. I had a good time. I met some very interesting people. I got a chance to go to some very interesting places. I got a chance to check out technology I've never even seen before. Yeah, so it has good sides and bad sides. But like I said, at the end, it's stressful. It has good days. It has bad days. And there are days, yeah, that you do want to give up. I have actually attempted to get rid of my company 3 times. This is when I first started off because it was too much pressure for me to take in. But I stuck with it. And this is why it's good to be a Christian, because you can put your faith in what your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He can build you up and get you to the point where you need to be at to strengthen you. He also protects you against the sheep. I call it was a sheep in wolf's clothing, because I've met many of business partners, many of investors who are intentionally out there to take from me and steal from me and smile on my face at the same time. And the Lord has allowed me to direct myself through a minefield of corrupt individuals that were only out basically to take what I had. That's another reason why I haven't got as a business partner. It's fantastic. But also too, I also have to mind my own self too, because when I go out here on camera, sometimes the arrogance kicks in. Oh, it does. Trust me, the arrogance kicks in, the pride kicks in, the bragging kicks in. And then when I come off camera, I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, Lord, I done messed up again. When I come on camera, I just want to do the video, and then that pride and all that stuff kicks in. Yeah, because that comes from basically of all the people telling me that my product was never going to be anything, was never going to get off the ground, no one was going to buy it. You know, I've been through all that already, blah, 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 blah. I went that with family. I went with that with friends. Oh, what are you making a paint that paints on the wall? Who's going to buy that? Who's really going to buy it? That's not, my brother's a financial genius. He makes a ton of money, all right? He makes 7 figures a year. He makes money. That was the first one that told me to get out of the business. Get out of the business. Eh? Who in their right mind is going to paint their wall with paint? Who's going to do that? I got a degree in culinary arts. Went to Paris, studied 1 month in culinary arts, came back. I did my internship, or actually 1 month internship over in Paris. Came back over here, got a job, didn't like it. Got a professional job, got a career, and didn't like it. Didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So eventually he's trying to convince me, look, it's a big job. You know, you can get your job in the restaurant, get you working here, blah, 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 blah. You know, you got a degree and all. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So somehow along the line, me being a technology junkie, involved in IT tech, I love computers to death. building machines. That was my love. People would bring machines to my house. I would reconstruct them, rebuild them, reprogram them, color them, put plexiglass in them, light them up with neon lights, all kinds of crazy stuff. When you live in the hood and you've seen a computer come back with LED lights and stuff, that blows people's mind like, whoa, wow. You know what I mean? They love that stuff. So I love that feeling to be able to walk about, go where I want to go, make my money, the freedom to do what I want to do. I like that. And that's when I decided that I wanted my own company. So that's where having the computers and my own, you're going to have your own rig set up. And that's where I bumped into me and my buddy June. June's IT tech too, but he doesn't show it. He works in a sneaker store. And June was talking about, he was showing me some stuff. And I was looking, he's like, wow, man, this stuff is freaking amazing. I thought my stuff was next level technology. He was up there. And he had a 360, but he favored the console. He didn't favor the computer. I favored the computer. He liked the consoles. And that's where I had my setup. I had my two Sony's 42s. I had Tesla video card. Look how much them babies cost. I had to save it for that one. That was an expensive video card. I had a 2011 motherboard. I had 264 gigs of RAM in my motherboard on a PC 3000 OC. That's what I was running on my motherboard. Hey, what's up? I had customized a liquid cooling system because the power supply that I had in my tower had a tall tower. So when you put a 2011 motherboard, it has 4 quad processors in it, not one, 4 12-core processors. That's equal to an i9. I don't know, it's i9? Yeah, it's equal to an i9. It was near equal to an i9. So it's 4 12-core processors. So you're running 4 CPUs and 1 computer. Mostly a 2011 motherboard or server boards, which I like those because I can host games at the same time and run my PC. Instead of having a dedicated or proxy server to the side, I can have it all in one. So, this whole thing was set up, running like probably about 4 or 5 terabytes of solid state drive. Had this monster PC. And my buddy's laughing like, who the frick uses 264 gigs of PC OC? And I'm like, well, it's bragging rights. There's no way in the world I was going to use that much power. But that's what I was doing games. I was hosting games and stuff. So anyway, with all the stuff I had in there, including the massive graphic cards and everything, of course, I know I'm talking to computers, but it happens from time to time. I had to basically figure a way to basically get enough power to run everything in the board. So I was running 2 1500-watt power supplies, and I had sliced an ATA, 2 ATA ATX adapters into a Y adapter to run 2 power supplies into one motherboard in order to have enough power supplies to run the monster. So I had this monster setup. I go to his house. He said, yo, Ken, come on. We're going to do Gears of War. I run over there. He's playing Gears of War. I didn't even see the gaming system he had. He bought an Xbox 360. Baby, don't bump the stand. Come on. Over here. Take the toys over here. There you go. I didn't see the Xbox 360 he had there in the corner. I saw a 120-inch projection screen. That's what caught my attention. I'm like, what the heck is this? He said, oh, I just got it yesterday. Went down to a garage sale. He got a screen. He got a Grey Wolf. That's what he picked up. He picked up a Grey Wolf over there. So the Grey Wolf he picked up, keep in mind, if you're going to come and you're going to insult, I'm just going to block you from the door. So just so you know. So he came in with a Grey Wolf. So you see somebody getting blocked, that means they came with a nasty insult. So he had a Grey Wolf in there, but the Grey Wolf had a stain in the middle, which is kind of weird how all this added up. It had a stain in the middle, but still was watchable. And he's in there watching this. We're playing Gears of War, and I'm not even thinking about my computer. I'm thinking about the massive size of a 120-inch screen versus my 242s at home. So after leaving out of there, I talked to him a little bit. I said, yo, so what's the projector? What you got? So-and-so. What's that over there? How you hook that up? I'm asking him all these questions and everything. He's educating me on these projectors. So when I go in the house, I can't go near the 42s anymore. So I decide that I'm going to go into not yet, not in the business yet. I decide that I want that screen in my house. I'm measuring out my walls and everything. I'm going on ABS forums. I'm going to Projector Central. I'm doing all this research about these projectors. What are lumen counts? What's a 32? What's 4K? What's 1080? All this stuff. I'm researching all this stuff. Like, can you put this to it? What can you plug up to it? And my biggest thing, can I plug my computer up to it? What about the peripherals? There's the HDMI. There's all this stuff. I'm looking at all this stuff on this. How do you change the bulbs? How do you change the lamps? All this stuff. What the heck is the rainbow effect? Which I need to know because people are telling me to get the rainbow effect on camera. I did it once. I had it happen to me one time. Not a good experience. Don't want to do that whenever again. So anyway, I go back then to the sneaker store. Now he becomes the projector guru because I'm going to him for everything. And this guy's feeding me all this information because this is what he's into. So I finally do it. I make the decision. I go sell my two 42-inch TVs. They're plasmas, by the way, at the time. I sell one on eBay. I sold the other one to a buddy of mine. He's another gamer. He needed a TV. I sold it to him for a good cheap price. I go buy a BenQ MS500. Oh, I need to buy me another one of those projectors and go back. I bought me a BenQ MS500. It was 800 by 600 res, 720p SVGA. First projector I ever owned. Run home was waiting for the guy to get here. FedEx guy was late. I said, where's the projector? I had nothing to hook up, nothing. I'm sitting there playing cell phone games, and I got this monster PC over here in the corner playing cell phone games, waiting for the projector to get here. It finally got here. I run downstairs, open it up, I turn it on. Didn't get the screen size I exactly thought I was going to get, right? So the screen size I got was 80 inches. My room wasn't all that big. So I said, okay, I can deal with this. 80 inches, I mean, I had two monitors side by side. They're both 42, so, whatever. But when I hit the wall, I'm like, ugh. Because mind you, I got a Tesla graphic card in there. My card is like 24 gigs. And I'm looking at this freaking thing like, what the freak? The screen is horrible. Colors are washed out, bland, no contrast, nothing. And then even more, I got to play with the screen in the dark all the time. Like, this is not a good trade-off. But June's house, his screen came up crystal clear because he had a $3,000 Grey Wolf over there. That's why. Grey Wolves had a kind of crushed reflective glass embedded in the screen so they come up brighter. His screen looked fantastic. It was gray. So I go back and talk to him. I said, man, I'm not liking this, man. I think I made a mistake, man. I want my TVs back. And the guy was like, oh, well, no. You're hitting that off a white wall, man. You can't use a white wall. They don't pull up that well. You need a gray screen to do it. So at the time, mind you, Black Diamond didn't exist. It was just Grey Wolf. Goose Screen was on the picture. Goose Screen was charging like $600, $700, $800. This stuff was way through the roof. And I couldn't afford Goose Screen at the time. So I was like, well, and I wasn't going to pay that much money to paint something on my wall, like $700, $800 to paint something. In the process I had to go through to do it, no. I was renting a room. No, that was not going to happen. So I went searching around. Daylight, all of them wanted like $2,000, $1,500. All of them wanted too much. And then I saw something called YouTube Paint. And I said, what's this? I said, YouTube Paint. They got online. It's free. You can make it. This guy made it and he gets away for free. That wasn't Crow at all, period. It was actually another guy who was actually doing it. White boy was doing it. He was showing people how to do the gray. And it wasn't Bear. It wasn't Bear was involved in it. It was just gray paint, pearl accent, and some other stuff they put into it. And went down to Home Depot, buy this stuff. And I was a little nervous, Went to Home Depot to go look at it. And the guy came back and said, 2 of the ingredients are discontinued. Mind you, this is like 5 years after this guy came up with the idea to do this. So I'm 5 years late. So he tells me, no, they don't make the other one because something was involved with cancer and whatever it was, and they discontinued it. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Because I'm not going back to that white wall. I'm thinking in my mind already, Best Buy is right across the street. I'll just basically max out one of my cards and I'll buy myself a big plasma. That's what's going through my head. So I pray on it and ask the Lord, what should I do? I'm not going to tell you, or I'll tell you what I picked up because now I already told you what was in the first digital one because it's screen paint. I picked up Martha Stewart Silver Metallica paint. I picked up Bear Silver Screen 1050, and I'm going by what he told me in my head directly what to go pick up. I picked up Bear 1050, and I picked up some black paint. I went home, I went to the hobby store, and I got glitter. I went by his direction and what he told me to do. I picked everything up, put it in the bag, sat in the back of the car. My buddy drove me home. And I was nervous. I was like, oh, this is not going to, back in my mind, I knew it was going to work, but the other part thought, I'm going to paint on this wall. I don't know about this, you know what I mean? Versus these TVs I had in here. Like, I got this massive graphic card. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing. And the Lord was like, just be quiet, listen to me, be still, and go. And I went. So I went home, mixed everything up in the way he told me to mix it up, and then painted it on the wall. And first thing I watched was Futurama, and the screen went boom. When the screen came on, I saw the colors and contrast, everything pushing through the screen with the lights on. And my buddy, who sleeps in the next room, was walking by. He's going out tonight to dance with some friends, and he's always a habit of tucking his head in my door, like, "Yo, dude, what you doing today? You want to go out?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna be in the house today." And he looked at the screen, he's like, "Woo, that looks nice. You should sell it." And there we go. That's how it started, and that's my path started. And every day I would get up in the morning. I go over to June, I go to AVS forums, I go to different sites and stuff. I research, I read people how to do this and how to do that. Because I'm new in the field. I had to educate myself how to do all this stuff. And with prayer and with the Lord, he's the one who was teaching me how to do all this stuff. Gave me education, gave me knowledge. As long as I could stay close to him, my business would grow. Mind you, I had 5 businesses before I started my company. It had nothing to do with screen painting. Each one of them failed. You know why? Because I put the credit to myself. I gave myself the credit. I had a business in fashion. A long time ago, my 20s, a long time. That's another story in its own. But anyway, yeah, I kept I basically made it where it was me, and 5 of my businesses failed miserably. They crashed and burned. This is the first business that I put in my Lord and Savior's name, and it blew up. So I learned how to do things God's way, do things His way. Now, I'm changing some things about myself because I see when I get on camera, there's things about me I don't like. I go back and watch my videos. I see where I'm making mistakes with my savior. I couldn't care less about the Jamies or the big companies out there. I'm here to do what I need to do, design amazing products for my customers, for my business associates. I have to carry myself right with God. People have to understand that. At the end of the day, that's what I got to deal with God. When I come off that camera and I sit down and pray and eat my food, I got to deal with my Lord and Savior. That's who I have to deal with. And I have to make sure I do things right by him. Me coming on camera, and I'm going to do side-by-side demonstrations. If somebody comes against me, I'm going to come at you. I am. I'm going to come at you full force. I'm going to protect my baby. This is what I built. This is what I designed. I'm coming at you. If you want to take it to court, we can go to court. I got the lawyers to do it. I got no problem with that. If I'm doing something, if I'm not going to do anything illegal, I'm not going to do anything where I'm going to try to scam my customers or take anything from them. Because at the end of the day, I have to deal with God. Whether or not you guys take that really seriously or not, I take it very seriously. So I have to deal with him. So when I come on here, I have to learn to carry myself in a certain way. And there are times I have slipped and fell and messed up on camera multiple times where I'll come on here and I know I got the person beat, but I'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. That's a part of me basically in business where that drive to keep going, to keep going, to keep going, no matter what. That's a part of me. But I got to learn to back it up sometimes because I know I have a person beat, but I'll just keep driving it in, knowing that I just want to completely crush them into nothing. But I got to stop doing that because I have to learn that you have to be merciful and you have to basically learn to try to just don't go after everything. You have to go. Sometimes I go pit bull style and I have to go after everything that comes up. Sometimes you got to let things lay. Let God handle it. That's what you have to do. So I'm going to try to keep this more professional. I'm going to try to come on camera. And if this individual wants to make these slanders of my product is not what it's supposed to be, that's what lawyers are for. That's what they're designed for. Go into court and straighten out the problems when people are doing stuff like this. I don't mind if he buys my product. He wants to do a side-by-side demonstration, as long as you keep it fair. As long as you're not throwing lights direct. Well, I don't care if you throw lights direct on the side. It's going to change your ambient light rejection anyway. I don't care. As long as you're not doing things to tamper or alter the video to make the product look bad, I have no problem with you testing out my products. But I do have a problem with you basically mixing a black substance and trying to say it's our product, making our products seem something that is not. That what I have a problem with. And when you do stuff like that and you continue to do what you just did, this ongoing campaign, if you did it 1 or 2 times, I can let that slide. But when you're doing it like you're doing it now, this is why the lawyers are involved now, because you've taken it too far. You went too far with it. And that's why we have to get lawyers involved, because you have tried to slander my company's name. It hasn't hurt my company in any way. That's the beautiful thing about having the Lord. When the Lord blesses you with a blessing, you can't take that from a man. Can't. Hard as you want, you can't. So my table will continue to be blessed. My contracts will still to come in. I'll still continue to work with other people as I always did when I first started my company. Things will go the same way they've always been. And my Lord will still continue to bless me with the knowledge and understanding to be able to continue on in my business until the day comes and he says, guess what, Ken? You're retired. And then I can go. So that's just a message to all the people who hate me. And this is a message to people who basically want to see my downfall. It's never, ever going to happen. I'm just going to keep getting better and better and better, because if you even knew exactly some of the things that my Lord and Savior has blessed me with that's going on in my head right now as we speak, the technology that flows through my head every single day, you'd be quite shocked on what we're able to do. We are already advancement with the technology we have. We are far more advanced than the certified screens. As I showed you yesterday on this technology right here, we can throw any certified screen against this technology or any screen we have in here, and we will dominate that screen with no problem. We can come out here and do demonstrations. We can throw screens in direct sunlight now and produce images. Meters don't even pick up outside. This is how amazing my Lord and Savior is. This is a technology blesses us to have. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We're going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to provide nice and high-tech technology for my customers, which I like to do, because I don't want to see them go out and spend $3,000 and $4,000 for a projection screen. Because quite frankly, I don't want to either. And I can afford to do it, but I don't want to. I don't want to see them buy these high-end expensive projectors, because you don't have to really spend all this money for a projector. It's craziness what they charge you for a projector today. Absolutely insane, even worse for a TV. You know, you have an option where you don't have to go out against these big companies and spend all this money, because at that particular time when I was coming up, there was no other. It was just the Goose Green, Grey Wolf, and a few people making some YouTube paint. That was it. There was no in between. There was no, oh, yeah, we got a screen that can produce next to a $5,000 projection screen or a $6,000 projection screen. There was no us. We didn't even exist at the time. So now you got somebody in there that's going against, I'm not going against the Jamies. I'm not going against the hobbies. That's not our goal. Our goal is to big companies like Black Diamond and Screen Innovation and DMP Supernova and Elite Screens. That's our goal. That's why when I got that letter from Screen Innovation telling me to back down from their technology, it was a scary day. I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't a fun day. It wasn't a fun day at all, period. But like I said, when I started my company, it wasn't really that big. I was working out of a little rented room. That's what it was at. I was a small guy who rented room. And I had a couple of forum sites and everything. Everything I was reaching out was online, So, big company like that makes eye contact with you. You're like, whoa, are you freaking kidding me? Because like I said, I got the punch sheet from my vice president, June. And he says, yeah, guess what I got today? Guess what I got today? I said, what you got? Because I saw the video of Black Diamond. I was like, wow. He said, Ken, you got to look at this. Look at the screen. Look how it pops up. Look at the colors coming out. I was like, whoa. I'm like, what the heck is that? Well, that's Black Diamond technology. Black Diamond. Wait, the screen's black? He said, yeah, the screen's black. Wait. The screen is actually black. That's what's blowing my mind. It can't be black. That's impossible. Nothing's going to pull from a black screen. The screen has to be light gray. Mind you, this is the era I was in. I was designing the screen. It has to be light gray. It has to be something. It has some kind of gray. How's it picking up a black level? And it blew my mind. While I walked home, I could think about with Screen Innovation. How in the world you get a freaking screen to pull a white level of a black screen? Now, mind you, God was with me the entire time, but it wasn't my time yet. And I'm sitting there thinking, how are they doing it? I'm watching and researching this guy every day, watching his videos, watching everything, just watching, research, obsessed, watching. How's he doing this? How is he getting that image to pull like that? So then my buddy Jim was like, hey, got something for you. Come down to the store. And there it was, lo and behold, in a little package sheet, Black Diamond punch sheet, the sample sheet. Oh man, I go home, I go run in the house, can't wait to see how it looks next to mine. Blew my screen clean out of the water. No questions asked. Destroyed it. So all that time I put into building design this technology, this thing came along and wiped it clean within minutes. And I realized it was the wrong direction. Looking at that technology, and also found out the Screen Innovation screen wasn't black, it was actually gunmetal, which was a dark gray. But still in all, still very impressive. And that's when I realized I was in the wrong direction. That the gray screen paints that I was designing are not the future. It was darker technology. And that's when the D5K started coming out. And we started developing darker and darker screens. But I didn't want a gray screen. I wanted a black screen. I wanted something that was better than his screen. That's what I wanted. And that's what we started developing darker and darker technologies. First, we started with D5K, darker screens almost equal to his color of his screen. Because my buddy Jim was like, it looks just like a Black Diamond. I said, yeah, it does. When we did the camera demonstration, and I don't care if they don't like it because it's true and it happened, and they can get a lawyer over this, whatever, I don't care. If you want to take me to court, we can go to court and we can back it up. Not a problem. When I did the camera, I had it like this. I had the sample sheet of Black Diamond against the wall. I'm talking about Black Diamond or Screen Innovation. I had the sample sheet against the wall. So when I was standing in front of it and I was recording it, I was trying to get a formula that came close to matching the screen and picking up the white levels. And we have one. We had it. It was picking up. It was doing what it was supposed to do. And I was so excited. Like, we're near getting his technology. I understand how the technology works. We're near getting something that can mimic that technology. And as I'm doing this, I noticed that when I went to go turn the camera to the side, it got dark. And I'm like, what the frick is that? I don't know anything about narrow viewing cones of mine. Then I go and I stand and I go do it again, and it turns dark again. Like, what in the world? And now I'm thinking it's my camera, or maybe it's the light coming in through the window, or it's disrupting it. So I move the screen over to another area. It's darker. It does it again. So I go back and I go, yo, June, the screen, when I set it up, when I move to the side, it gets dark around the edges. What is that? He said, oh, that's the narrow viewing cone effect. That's where the screen basically has to be in line with the projector. And they're not in line with the projector. If you move to the left or right, they can develop a little black ring around the screen. I'm like, oh, do say. From the first flaw in the technology. And that's when we started developing screens. We're doing demonstrations like, 190-degree viewing angle. You can walk around the screen anywhere you go, and it'll pick up. We're using that flaw against them because we knew they couldn't pick up on a 190-degree viewing angle, but we could. And that's where I got the email from Screen Innovation telling me that the screens had potential and they were interested in the technology. And so they wanted us to come down to Dallas, Texas. And of course, like I said, you're going to have a meeting. Company's not going to contact you and say, hey, the product has potential, and don't say anything out of it. They're going to want you to meet with you. They want to talk what you have in that container, what you have. So I asked for an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which means that all parties involved that signed their names, only parties involved that signed their names involved with that agreement, can't talk about jack. I can't talk about anything they're showing me. They can't talk about anything I showed them. It's protection because I didn't have any patents or anything on the product. It was only 25% done. They didn't want to give it to us. They said some nonsense that came up. You have a legal department. You can draw up the paperwork in no time at all and have it signed in, no time at all. They didn't want to do the paperwork. And we got into a discussion, and the discussion got heated. And from heated discussion came into hanging phones up on each other. And then after that, I got mad, went outside, ripped a piece of cardboard off the side of a refrigerator box, coated with our technology, and used it on the screen. Did an angle gain demonstration. And they got upset over that. Now, mind you, didn't call them slander, didn't come out, never told anybody about the angle gain issue, didn't bring it up on camera, didn't talk about it. I kept that quiet. That was my personal information to know. So didn't say anything about it, just did it side by side, and they didn't like what they were seeing. And bottom line is, later on, about 2 weeks later, my buddy June says, there's a certified letter here for you by Screen Innovation. I go pick it up. It's from their attorneys telling me to remove every single video demonstration, telling me to remove every picture, everything. Don't speak about them. Don't talk about them, nothing. Mine, this is 2015. They can't touch me now. But anyway, that's how that nonsense went on. So yeah, last 2 days I went in, wiped everything clean. There's nothing anywhere of them, but I did keep backup files of everything because I keep everything. I have a habit of keeping on my backup files. So I do have videos of me taking on the screen. I do have pictures and stuff. If we ever have to go to court or anything like that, I can show basically fair and square. In my videos, I did nothing wrong against their product. Just basically, they did that as being a bit intimidated about what we had over here. All right, so for me, that has been my trophy. That has been that piece of paper and that document. I don't look at it as a bad thing. At the time, it was a bad thing, but I look at it now as a trophy that I got a corporation as big as them to come in and notice my technology. It's like I put these equivalents in there all the time. It's like the equivalents of, us being giants, because we're giants compared to the smaller insects that are roaming the earth. We're considered the giants of the world. So, it's kind of like you're one of those insects down there making your product, and giants like Elite Screen and DMP Soup and all of them are just walking them on the earth on their everyday back and forth. And one of them just happens to look down, which, we rarely do when we're walking around. We don't pay attention to what's going on underneath us. That's when you think about the giant scenario, if there were little people living underneath us, we wouldn't pay attention to that. We're in our own world. We don't look at that. And they took the time to lean down and find me and all of those people making screen paints and go, hey, I like what you have over there. Let's talk. That's what it felt like to me. So that piece of paper is my trophy because it shows that I was able to not only intimidate, but able to go side by side and show my product to be noticeable, that a company such as that would notice me. And that boosted me even higher. That allowed me to be able to know that I was on the right path of the technology we're developing. And voila, this is why I'm in this section right here. So I do, keep in mind, don't get me wrong, I do like light gray screens and all that, but the problem I have with them, and I tell people that, they don't pull contrast, and they don't, honestly, they do not. They don't pull contrast, and they do not pull contrast levels. That's why I like that blue so much, because that blue is a very light screen, and that blue is the beginning. When you see me design a screen like that, that is the beginning stage of something else that's coming, that's better. That means we have information now that screen is given to us that, okay, this can be done. Let's figure a way how to get this into a silver version of a screen, which would be the next stage. Because not a lot of people are going to paint a blue screen, honestly, to the wall when you think about it. Some people will. Who knows who's going to utilize it? We put it there anyway, but who knows who's going to paint a blue screen into a wall? But most people are not going to paint a blue screen to their wall. So we have to get it into a color that is acceptable for people to be able to use. But the color we have to use can't be dark. It has to be light. And the light technology is going to be involved in that. It's going to have to be to marry well with the other technology, and it's going to have to convert, which is going to be a hard problem because the other technology is going to produce too much white light. It's a whole story of stuff that goes on in my head. The song and dance of white light and dark light that plays together. So they have to marry well. If they don't, there's going to be problems, a lot of problems. So now we have to take that blue technology and we have to convert that into a light screen that's presentable for the customer, but can still maintain and trigger off that contrast transformation at the same time. And then once we get that down packed and we figure that out, then when I always say we, because people say you live by yourself, I'm talking about me and God. Then, he's got it figured out. I got to catch up. That's all to it. I'm the person trying to catch up. Once we get down packed and we get an understanding of it, of what it's doing, then the tests come in. Because we have to see, okay, we put the screen up. How's this thing going to react to an ultra short throw? How's it going to react to an ultra short? It's better if it doesn't react to an ultra short throw with certifiers on it. So how's it going to react to a short throw? how it's going to react to the ultra short throw with certified. So somebody has this particular screen, we have to show them, look, this is how it's going to react on ultra short throw with this particular screen we're going to put up there. How it's going to do it long throw. What about people with low lumen projectors? I mean, we got to throw this thing back 22 feet. We have to make sure we were way and beyond 22 feet. No one's going to be back 22 feet with a 1,000 lumen projector. Quite frankly, they're just not. But we have to do that anyway, because if the screen can pass at 1,000 feet, we know anything in between, not 1,000 feet, anything between 10 feet and 20 feet, it's going to pick up automatically. So we know that from the door. That's information we're getting fed by the test. When I do certified screens, when I do the solid colors, it shows me, wow, the screen is perceiving color, perceiving reds and blues and greens. How is it colors are coming up compared to the other screens that are claiming to pull up a higher color rate or a higher contrast rate? All that has to play out. People are doing these things outside. We have setups outside. This is where we have to be outside and do these demonstrations. The most impressive demonstration for us to do is 13 feet at 1,000 lumens and pull up 109-degree star field. Now, if your screen can pull that off, that's quite impressive, because that means that you could pull up just about on anything because you're at 1,000 lumens. Most people outside are not using 1,000 lumen projectors. They're using something like, companies are using like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 lumen projectors. Average Joe outside is probably using 3,000, 38, 36, somewhere in that range that they're using. We're at 1,000 lumen at 13 feet. See what I mean? So at 1,000 lumens at 13 feet, the screen no longer is maintaining 1,000 lumens. By the time it takes off on that projector, it's automatically, the lumen count is completely cut in half. So we're less than probably 250 hitting the screen, because the outside light's going to destroy it. There's no windows and doors protecting it. We know that. That's why they do the 1,000 lumen test, because we know the screen is going to have to physically work its butt off to get that label. So consider that. Just real quick. If you're inside the house, you're at 1,000 lumens, you're at 13 feet. You have all these walls and everything protecting you from any ambient light. The only ambient light you have in the room is a light that you can control. So I can control the light in here. If I turn this off, I can control the light in here. Full control. If I want, I can put dimmers in the environment, and I can dim the lights anywhere I want to control exactly how many lumens are going to make contact with the screen. But when you're outside, you have nothing to protect you. There's no windows, there's doors, nothing. So the minute that projector turns on and fire off, it automatically drops half its lumens already from the door. Now, if it's dropping half its lumens, what does it have left to travel 13 feet to hit a screen that's going to be overwhelming? Because mine is a projector that's 600 by 800 and a 720p res, which means the pixel count isn't even there to be able to pick up what pixels it's going to lose by the time it makes process to the screen. So we automatically know it's going to suffer there. So at 600 by 800 res, pixel count is extremely low. You're outside at 13 feet on 1,000 lumens. You're dealing with outside elements. It's still daytime, a lot of light is out there, and that projector is going to be cut in half the minute it turns on. Whatever's left over is going to have to travel 13 feet. In mind, this is going to be diminishing. It's not going to be, if it starts off with maybe, let's see, 1,000 lumens, we do 500. We got 500 to start from the door. That 500 is going to diminish by the time it makes it to that 13 feet quite rapidly. So as it's dropping off faster and faster and faster, as the light's pushing through to make it to the screen, by the time it gets to the screen, it's probably at 100. It could be at 100 lumens. It could be 150 lumens. This is why we got a gain gun coming in pretty soon to measure the gain, or how much gain is coming from the projector that makes contact with the screen, and how much the screen is actually physically picking up from back and forth. So we're picking one of those up. So by the time it makes it to the screen, boom, the screen is going to have a high enough gain to take whatever's left over and magnify that back to bring an image right back at you, so you can see the image crystal clear. Now it's outside. That's how hard those tests are. And not only it has to show some people have just the pretty colors. No, it has to show solid reds, blues, greens, purple, contrast, which is the hardest thing to pull up. It has to show white levels. And then I have to turn the camera to the side and make sure that that image pulls up from corner to corner as I'm walking across that screen, which means I can't see any fading here, no fading here, no fading here or here. It must stay solid all the way across. That's how hard that test is. So each one of my products on my website had to go through that test. If they don't pass that test, the screen gets scrapped, everything gets thrown in the trash, it doesn't exist. That's how hard our tests are. That's why when people see those demonstrations, that's why I can go in my backyard and take a 180-inch and take a projector and pull back 22 feet and go boom, the screen will blow up, because I know that screen has passed the test on 1,000 lumens. It'll run anything out there. 4,300 lumens? That's a cakewalk for that technology. So that's why when we do these rigorous tests, we get these outdated projectors nobody wants to buy. And we take those projectors and we make them look like plasma TVs What do you think will happen if we put it, if a company comes in and says, hey, Mr. Bird, we're going to test your product out today. And these are the projectors we picked out. We got a 4K over here. We got an 8K over here. And we got a new 16K projector. I'm sitting there laughing my head off on the back. We're going to blow this out of the water because our screens are not used to being on projectors that high tech. They're used to being on low graded projectors. They go through these brutal testings, these crappy projectors. And we know that you put that on a 16K, you have any idea what this thing's going to look like? Yeah, easy contract. You can throw that thing on a light. Go ahead, put it in a room. Put lights all in it. These screens can test outside at 1,000 lumens. Easy. So that's why you have to do the testing. And like I said, you know, when you first start off, the hardest thing about selling something online, and it is really hard. I'm gonna tell you something right from the door, but it can be done. Is you got to convince your customers that the product works. Do you have any idea how many videos? I haven't even tracked down how many videos I have, how many test videos I have done. I have tested my product on just about of what I can get my hands on so far. I mean, I don't have a wind tunnel, which I would love to have, or a device where I can change the temperature in the environment. That would be nice. Or a device would be called the greenhouse, which I want so bad, which is the room made of all glass, so I can basically have light hitting the screen from every corner and have cameras wrapped around to record all information at the same time. That would be nice, but I don't have that technology. I don't have that ability yet. But the tests we do have, you know, we can pretty much test the screen in a way that everybody else doesn't do. So in order for me to get myself on the map, I had to do demonstrations that the other companies weren't doing. I did the opposite. When they were sitting in dark environments using ambient light controlled environments and high-end projectors, I was outside with a NEC 2000 lumen projector that you can get on eBay for like 30 bucks. And I was producing images outside. So I did the opposite of everybody else. And I had to do a lot of work and a lot of demonstrations, getting up early in the morning, you know what I mean? Getting up, getting things prepped, getting things ready. Sometimes before I go to bed, I got to prep things before I get ready for the next day, which I'm prepping right now because the demonstrations do here. And Cat's over here chilling and relaxing. But anyway, it's a lot of work, a lot of struggle. I remember sitting outside in the cold, freezing cold, carbon dioxide coming out of my mouth, getting up early in the morning, outside, bundled up, freezing outside, testing screens in the cold. See if the screen would crack or break, or the product would, or maybe I get a good day because my neighbor's car wasn't there that day, which was nice because I could record in the back and his license plate wouldn't pop up, even though I don't do editing at all. I'm really bad at editing. I'm really, really bad at it. That's why I don't edit anything. I'm bad at editing, bad at editing. So I leave everything the way it is. It's raw. Something falls on the screen and I get popped in the head with it, so be it, leave it in there. I don't care. It's raw, leave it the way it is. But yeah, I've been cold, rain, you name it. I've been out in the elements with it, sitting there with a raincoat on, watching the screen, rain pour on top of it, out in the freezing cold, coming in the house freezing cold, watching the screen in cold temperatures. Yeah, you go through all that, everything. So you have to be able to do these demonstrations and these tests, number one, for yourself, because you have to make sure your product does work 100%. But most of all, you know what I mean, you have to show your customers that, hey, look, this is how this stuff does. It does work. And thank God for live, because I'm telling you, live is a blessing, because now I can come on camera live and I can show you in real timing how I'm painting screens and building things and designing stuff. That's what I love about live, because it's actually happening. It's in real time, you know? So that's why when this individual, and I got to teach myself, when this individual goes back to that black, dirty sample sheet, or whatever that is, I got to learn to ignore that nonsense, because I know deep down in my heart what my technology is designed to do. My customers know, people do business with know, and I do it on live mostly all the time. So why am I going back and forth with this? This is what he does, you know, and this is why people like him are really bad for business, as I said before, because there are people out there who work really, really hard at what they do. And then when you have somebody comes in, it's hard enough to try to convince people on camera or try to show them, like, look, this stuff works. This is what I do. This is my profession. And then you got somebody like him that comes in and goes, oh, it doesn't work. It does this, blah, blah, this, and blah, blah, blah. Want to slander it, tear it down. And we all been through that. Everybody can't say they haven't been in that. Work or at your job, you're doing your best to get to that area you want to get to. And you got individuals in there just trying to rip you down because they're upset because they can't get there, or they can get there and don't want to work hard to get there, and they don't want to see you get there. So everybody deals with those, whether it's in business or work or your next door neighbor, whatever it is. You could have a beautiful lawn. You take care of every single day. You go out there, you do the fertilizer. It's a beautiful lawn. Your neighbor could have a lawn that looks like an atom bomb went off over there, and he could basically be a little jealous. They'll trash over your petty stuff. So we all been through it before. But unfortunately, this is what you have to deal with in life. And unfortunately for me, I have to basically, once the lawyers get all this taken care of, I think he's going to he's definitely going to disappear once we go to court. But until then, we just have to deal with this nonsense it does. And I have to learn to not feed into it, just ignore it, do what I have to do, because I know my product works. I come in every day, I work hard, and I do what I need to do. And I shouldn't let somebody like that influence me to the point where I had to come on camera and destroy my entire day on going back and forth with this dumb nonsense and do what has to be done. I will come out from time to time to defend myself, yes, because that's what I do. But to take it that far is going too far, and it's basically messing with my religion. It's messing with what I do in my life, and it's messing with my company and with my customers. So he has to understand that this is how I know this is how it's going to be. It's never going to change. It's like the lawyer sat there when I was talking to him. He said, "You can send this piece of paper out. He's not going to listen. You're going to have to physically take him to court. And you're going to have to sue him," and that's what we're doing. All right. So thank you all. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story and everything else. I got to write a book one day. Maybe one day. I don't know. Who want to read it? I don't even know. I won't even read it because I don't like to read 4 pages in a contract. I complain about paperwork all the time. Like, oh God, 3 pages. Are you kidding me? 3 pages? I rant to my friend. I got 3 pages. A friend of mine is a lawyer, and she sends me documents on her desk. He thinks are huge. They're huge. It's like 20 phone books together. And she was like, "This is my day, and you're complaining about 3 sheets of paper." I don't like doing paperwork. That's all. I got comic books upstairs I haven't read through yet, and that's kind of bad. The only book I've read was the Bible. I read the entire Bible, and that was the most fascinating thing, beautiful thing I've read in my entire life. But other than that, 3 pages, I'd be like, really? 3 pages? No, I'm not doing this. I protest. I'm going out to get something to eat. Yeah, I have somebody else read over it. No signing over it. I do read it eventually, but I just don't want to read it. All right, I got to go. I got to get back to work. I got Kat over here chilling. She's relaxing right now. Kitty Kaboom. She's going to be I'm going to make her my technician. And we got some demonstrations set up. I got the Chrissies here over here on the floor. We're going to do the brought some more Chrissies. I have a black Chrissy. I forgot it was up there. We're going to do the Chrissies. We're going to do some projector shopping online. Show you where you can get your $100 Chrissies, $140 Chrissies. This projector right here, I love this projector. I want another one of these so bad. They pop up from time to time. Sometimes they pop up, sometimes they do. Hunt for these projectors, right? These projectors are fantastic. This is a $500 projector. All more should cost you. And these things are incredible. I'm going to turn it on so you can see how it's going to react to the new screen so you can get a look at that. But yeah, and then people were asking me about, and the Sony VPL FH36, 31s, and 30s. I haven't been able to get, now this one, 3 of the projectors have an interesting feature. I'm going to tell you about this real quick. They had 3 of them. There's 3 of them. They all looked alike. When you look at them, all of them looked alike. I lie to you not. But each one of them has an interesting feature in them. The FH30s pretty much do what the FH31s and 36 will do. They'll do a twin mode picture-in-picture, but you have to have the remote control. If you don't get the remote control with it, you can't use twin mode. Just want to let you know that from the door. It's not in the option anywhere I checked. Now, the 36s, they can do something called edge bleeding. You ever seen that before? Edge bleeding, we can take 2 projectors and you can put them together, and they have a system where you can just tap one button and it automatically mends the screen together at one big wide screen. That's what that has in it. Now, usually if you're going to do edge blending, you have to use some kind of warp software or something like that. You know what I mean? A lot of programming to get the screen to knit together so it comes out nice and perfect. This has like 1 button application. That's it. Only problem is that particular projector, they're not cheap. They're expensive. I paid $700 for that projector. Yeah, a lot of money for a projector that's already used and discontinued in 2012 or 2013 or 14 or whatever. But it has that option in it. I'm trying to get my hands on another one so I can do that edge blending together. So that's what that one has. The FH36 is the only one that has that in there. When I bought my projectors, I bought 2 of the FH30s. I thought they had the edge bleeding. I thought they had the portrait mode. Portrait mode, you can take the projector, you can turn it over like this. And say Christmas time is coming up and you want to make Santa Claus look like he's coming through your front door, or you have a door you want to put on display or something like that. So what you do is, usually how I do portrait mode, which I have to do on a computer, is I have to take the projector and I have to turn it this way. Now you can only run that through a computer only, because you have to go into the computer, you have to go into your display settings, and you have to put it in portrait to get it to stand up, and the projector must be standing the same way to the portrait mode. These are different. You don't have to have a computer in portrait mode. You can put up to a gaming system. If a gaming system doesn't have portrait mode, all you have to do is take the projector and shift it, and it automatically shifts the screen on the image into portrait mode, which means your videos came out long instead of coming out short like this. Because if you try to do portrait mode you try to do it on your computer, where I have upstairs set up, you tilt it to the side, go into your computer, put it in portrait mode. The YouTube videos are going to come up this way, and they're going to come up long, like a cell phone. But with that projector, like your cell phone, when you take your cell phone and you put it into, or cell phone's opposite, and put in portrait mode, it has a long bar. Well, put it this way, when you switch the projector up, instead of the video being this way, it's going to be this way instead, because the projector automatically converts it that way. And that allows you, if you're watching somebody who's doing a haunted house and you can't figure out how in the world are they getting the projector to fit in that little door like that? They're using a portrait mode projector, or they're using scanning mapping software. That's how they're doing it. But yeah, those projectors are really expensive. Now, I found out that the FA30s don't have them, which I bought 2 of those. Yeah, I found it the hard way. They didn't have the edge bleeding, which I wanted. They had twin mode, which I didn't really care about, but who cares? You know what I mean? It's a good projector. I love it. I got it anyway. And I later on I found out that the FA36 has the edge bleeding, but it doesn't have the portrait. Nope. If you want the portrait, you got to go to the FH31. That has the portrait, but the FH31 doesn't have the edge bleeding. I don't know why, but that's how they did it. So that's how I found out about that little scenario. After I had already bought 2 of the FH30s at $300 and $350 each, thinking I was going to have that option, and I didn't get it. So some things to learn. But like I said, it doesn't bother me at the end of the day. Woo! The dislikes, no, it doesn't bother me. Dislikes, and mind you, I've been in this business over 12 years. I've heard just about everything under the sun, literally under the sun. Like I said, I've had racial slurs and all kinds of stuff thrown at me. Yeah, it's just business. You're going to go through all that. If you're going to go through here, I tell people, if you're going to go through here and the first person gives you an insult, you're going to break down and start crying, get out of the business. And trust me, it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough, you know. So when I see stuff like that, when people, death threats and people do that stuff, this doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, you got to deal with my Lord and Savior. Whether you're a Christian or not, you're going to deal with them. You know, I can tell you some stuff, man, before I became a Christian. There's some things I learned the hard way. And man, did I learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. All right, I was a Christian. I took the long road. I was stubborn-minded, arrogant, going to do what I want to do. No one's going to tell me what to do. I was extremely arrogant. No one could tell me nothing. I lost one of my businesses. I told you back in the day while I'm setting up. Back in the day, back in the 80s when everybody was airbrushing, rhinestone. You know, Rhinestone City back in the day. You know, walk up to somebody, get blinded. Boom. But anyway, so at that time, I was working at Pizza Hut. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was making some money. At least I wasn't on a corner slinging, you know, drugs. I've been doing that, and that was big at that time. So anyway, it was big now, but it was really big then. He had a lot of corner boys. But anyway, got this job at Pizza Hut, making a little money. You know, get some Adidas, stuff like that, nice clothes and stuff. Some of the clothes were kind of expensive, you know what I mean? I wanted some certain jeans, and they were like a lot of money, and I couldn't afford them. So I was in the church, but not in the church. I was in there because my mother was bringing me in and out, you know, but I wasn't in the church. And I noticed when she had me take some food down to the kitchen, there was these women in the back on these sewing machines back there making clothes. They were making clothes, the altar and the gowns and stuff they make for the church and everything for the choir and stuff. So I got to looking around back there, see what they were doing. And I got sat and talked to one of the women, became good friends with them, and they started teaching me how to make clothes. So I learned how to go into a store and turn their jeans inside out and read their patterns. Because I can read patterns, and that's why I figured out. The first time she was teaching me how to read patterns, taking it slow, and I walked to the store, I pulled the jeans inside. I was like, oh, I can see how it was designed, how it was made, and I started making my own denim clothes, my own jeans and stuff like that. And a buddy of mine at the street did airbrushing, and I started hanging around with him for a little bit, you know what I mean, watching his craft, and started learning from him. That's why I never go through life empty, with an empty glass, with a full glass, because there's so much you can learn. So I learned how to rhinestone. I learned how to bejewel the clothes. I'm going to bejewel the clothes. I learned how to do all that stuff. And I started designing my own stuff. And I got people noticing my stuff was different from everybody else. I had one of these jeans were ripped up, and I had a subway train going through one hole, went out the other, and I had this rhinestone New York City forever, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And, you know, I had some crazy stuff. So anyway, I get up to City Blues to go buy a shirt to go with this outfit because I'm going to a party that night. And I bumped into this guy who's looking at my clothes, asked me where I got it from. I said, I want to design this stuff myself. Gave me his business card. I tucked it away in my drawer for a bit. And then I had a few people at the party ask me if I can make clothes or if I airbrush and design clothes. And I started making a little money on the side. You know, more money in Pizza Hut, but, you know, made a little money on the side. And then I called this guy up and ended up getting into the fashion business. Now, it wasn't Calvin Klein. It wasn't, you know, Louis Vuitton. It was not, it was small. It was amateur, okay? But I got a chance to see some things I never knew. I knew before, you know, how things were done. So the arrogant popped in. Mr. The arrogant popped in. So anyway, my mother was trying to tell me, you need to copyright your artwork, because I used to do art. I'm a little bit of an artist. Copyright your artwork. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to steal from me. These are my friends, man. They're not going to steal from me. There's no way in the world they're going to take from me. They stole from me. They took all my stuff, everything from me. Everything. And then I had a little office that I used to go to. I had 5 workers underneath of me. they denied me access to the office. They basically had me removed off the property with security. And I lost everything because of my arrogance. So that happened 5 times in a row. Actually, 5 times in a row, yeah. Until when I got this business, I was deeply into God. I was deeply in my Christian beliefs. And I put my business with my Lord. And look where I'm at now. I'm not in a fancy hotel and boom, 5 huge mansion and all this stuff. But consider the fact that when you come from North Philadelphia and you come from an area, you lived in areas where majority of your friends are dead and the other half are in jail. And you have been through many, I couldn't count how many times I've been through drive-bys. I'm not going to go into all that. It gets pretty brutal, but I've been through some real crazy stuff. But the fact that I'm here and the majority of my friends and my people I used to be with are gone. Yeah, there's something to look back on. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But anyway, so the fact that I'm 53 years old and I'm standing here, I can go in my backyard and I can look at grass, squirrels and stuff like that. I don't hear gunfire going off and all that stuff like that. Yeah, it was a lot of work to get here. So anyway, yeah, got into the business, got arrogant, lost everything from being arrogant. Didn't want to do it God's way, want to do it my way. Me. And then on camera, I got to have it doing that too. I got to stop doing that dumb nonsense. It's hard because it's embedded in us for us to constantly say, it's ours, it belongs to me. To the day comes when you have to die and you realize you ain't taking it with you. Because like I said, I told people, I have yet to see a U-Haul truck behind a funeral line. Never saw one. Can't take it with you. But I learned things too on my way of being a Christian. And also I learned things too on my way of not being a Christian. I learned you never threaten a Christian. The worst thing you can do. And a Christian, on the other hand, can't use that advantage point to do wrong to others. You can't say, oh, you can't threaten me. I'm protected by God, so you're going to have to deal with that. Oh, it don't work that way, buddy. It don't work that way. God don't play those games. You want to go out and do dumb stuff and you call yourself a Christian, you're going to suffer consequences too. You don't play favorites. You're going to get it maybe just as worse as the other person because you know better. So we got consequences we have to go through. If a Christian ever tells you out there and says, oh, I can do what I want to do. God's got my back, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no. It don't work that way. You're going to get it worse because you know better. So you better go back and get that mess straightened out. And you better make peace, do what you got to do, get it straightened out. Now, I learned this the hard way. The hard way, I told you. I had a brother-in-law of mine who's a very serious Christian man. Him and my sister. My mother had to go to church. She wanted me in the house. Mind you, I'm living in a Strawberry Mansion. If you know what Strawberry Mansion's at in North Philadelphia in the 80s, yeah, we call that the OK Corral down there. You get shot quick down there. I mean, quick. I walked out my door and I watched a man get shot in the face. Out my door at 12 o'clock in the afternoon to go to the store to pick up some food, and I watched the man get shot in his face. That is something you do not want to start your day with. But eventually I had to because that's where I lived at. And anytime in my neighborhood, when I was moving from A to B to go do whatever I was doing, around there, hang out with my buddies, my friends and stuff, I could have run into some potential nonsense that made me, I was not coming home the next day. But that's where I lived and that's what I had to deal with. So anybody who lives in a rough neighborhood, you know what I'm talking about. Those who don't, you're real lucky. So anyway, after seeing that incident, because now you can be desensitized to all that because you've seen so much of it, I went to the store and picked up a few things and blah, blah, blah. That's a long story and so on. But my brother-in-law came in and my mother didn't want me out. It was nighttime. Nighttime was fun time to be. Come on, you out with your friends. You want to ride around, play some basketball, have some fun, blah, blah, have fun and everything. But, you got to be careful. My mother didn't want me out there. My mother's going to church. She wanted me in the house. I was 16 years old. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Got my gear and everything. Got my clothes. I want to dress on. Buddies are calling. We're going to this party. You want to come down? Yeah, I'm coming. Mom's going to church. I'll be in a few minutes. Man, I actually had a few instances where I had to turn into Spider-Man coming down the side of on a projects because a shooting went off inside one of the parties because somebody had walked in and eventually they didn't like the other person. They decided to fire a couple rounds inside of a freaking small project apartment. Had to learn Spider-Man skills to get down the side of a freaking fire escape because I didn't want to get hit with one of the bullets. Yeah, so like I said, I've been through my stuff. So anyway, my brother-in-law was a real nice person, real kind person. At the time, I was a bonehead, a complete bonehead. So he comes in, he tells me, look, Andy. My family nickname now. My secret's out. Yeah, my family nickname is Andy. So anyway, they were like, Andy, I need you to go sit down and get the food ready for the kids and all. Because I come from a big family, other brothers and sisters and stuff like that. And I go, no, I'm doing what the blank I want to do. Blankety, blankety, blank. You don't tell me what the blank to do. I do blah, 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 blank, blank. Man, you keep on running your mouth, I'll shoot you in the face. That's exactly what I said to him. Ooh, that was a big mistake. That was a big, big mistake. But I didn't realize it. So, I put my jacket on, got my gear on. He didn't say anything. He just sat down. Put my gear on, I walked out the door. My boys are at the corner. I meet up with them. They separate. They said they gotta go take care of some business, go pick up some stuff before they go to the party. I said, fine. I'll go around the corner. I'm gonna meet up with this other female and talk to her, see if she wanna go with me. Or her and her sister, and we give them a lift up there to this party. As I'm turning the corner, I know my block. I know my block. I know my block. I know who I know on my block. I know where I can go and where I can't go. And on that particular block, I can go where I want to go. So that's why I was walking that route, because I knew no one was going to stick me up or rob me and take my jewelry off me or nothing, because all my people were on that particular block. So as I'm walking up, these guys pop up around the corner. I know it, two of them, out of nowhere. Never seen them before. Never saw their faces. For some reason, the faces weren't picking up. We were under a street. We were on the street, like partial street light. But where they're at, they're on the shadow side. But I still should have been to see their face. I couldn't see nothing at all. And that guy pulled up that chrome, put it right against my forehead, and all I could see was the bullets in the chamber. He squeezed that trigger, I was gone. There was no way in the world I was getting out of that. I was dead man. So my time already came. My day came. So as his gun's pressed against my head, the guy's asking for my jacket. My mind, I'm not thinking about a jacket. I'm not thinking about the gun. I'm thinking about the gun. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about the gun. But in my mind, I'm thinking about the only thing that's piercing through my head over and over and over again is what I said to my brother-in-law. That's all I can hear. I can hear my voice echoing over and over again about shooting him in the face. And here I got a guy with a gun stuck to my head, and I'm looking at these bullets coming at my face. If this guy squeezes the trigger, I'm not coming back the next day. If I survive that. I don't think I'm going to survive that. That's a pretty big gun. Anyway, that's all I could think about. So I pushed him. I figure I push him down, and I run in a zigzag. I'm running in zigzag, and I'm yelling at the same time, trying to get my people to come around the corner, and none of my people are coming. My block is always filled with my boys. No one's coming. And I'm sitting there running and screaming and push this guy down and running. And I figure if he shoots me, maybe he'll get me in the leg, maybe get me in the back. I can get to the corner. I can crawl to an alleyway, hide in the bushes, and maybe, somebody will find me. That's my survival. It's going through my head. But all I could think about was shooting my brother in the head. It's all was going through my head all day long. I made it home. By the time I turned the corner, these guys were gone. We get in the car. I load about 20 boys. We get the caravans. We load up. We start riding around. We're going to get these guys. We're riding all over the neighborhood, everything, searching everything. Leaving no rock unturned. Nobody heard of them. Nobody seen them. Nobody. Nobody knows anything about them. These guys don't even freaking exist. So where did they come from? In the back of my mind, every day, I'm getting the same thing over and over again. Shoot my brother in the face. It's popping my head over and over again, 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 again. It doesn't stop. I sleep. It's on my head. It keeps going on and on and on. And every day I get up, it gets worse. It gets even worse. Now I got people walking up to me that want to kill me. I don't even know these people. I'm sitting on the porch eating my food, and a car stops. A guy pulls down the window and takes sand and puts it to his forehead and does the whole motion of pop blowing my head off. And I'm like, what the frick was that all about? I don't even know this guy. Every day there was some joker coming up to me one day. He beat the daylights out of me, kick the day, stab him, whatever. I think I almost had a bounty on my head. I'm like, what did I do? I'm trying to figure out exactly. Did I do something wrong to somebody? Somebody put a bounty on me? No, it was because I threatened a Christian. That's what happened. When I realized with the stupidity, dumb thing that I did, I went back to my brother-in-law and I begged for his forgiveness. He forgave me. The next day, I don't even exist. No one was coming up to me. No one was threatening me. Nobody, every day, normal day. And the usual yokels I deal with every day, it stopped. And you learn from those experiences. And I never forgot that as long as I lived. It happened when I was 16. I never forgot that. At being 53 years old, I never forgot that experience. So I'm careful. Even if a Christian does me wrong and we get into a heated debate, I'm not gonna curse that person. Nope. I'm just gonna leave it in God's hands. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not crossing that line. And like I said, Christians have to go through consequences too. Christians going to get there and try to use God as a shield. You can't do that. It don't work that way. That shield will drop right down on top of you, and the devil will jump right on top of you. Can't do that. Now, I've seen Christians like that. They'll go out and go, oh, but I'm protected by the Bible, and they'll have to throw curse words in at the same time. Christians can't. They can curse, and they will curse. We got to do a segment on that. Christians can't. They will curse because your body's cursed. People understand that people say, oh, but you're a Christian and you're not supposed to commit no sin. Your body is cursed. Do you know that? Your body's cursed. You're living in a cursed vessel. Before, I'm not getting to a whole scripture thing, before Adam and Eve, your bodies were indestructible. You were super creatures. You basically had the ability. You never died. You couldn't get sick. You couldn't get old. You were immortal, right? There was no such thing as animals killing each other. It didn't exist. There's no such thing. They said the lion can lay down with the lamb. That was true. A lion can literally lay down with the lamb. They won't kill. There's no desire to kill. The devil didn't exist. Well, he did exist. He just basically hasn't entered the kingdom. The kingdom of paradise was for Adam and Eve. He did exist because he existed when he tried to overtake Earth. When he tried to overtake heaven, and he was cast out of heaven. He was thrown into the earth. That's where that happened. That's where Lucifer became Lucifer. But when he was on the earth, that's where you had Adam and Eve. And then at that particular time, he had the Garden of Eden, and the devil was trying to figure a way to get in. That's why I don't like snakes. Snakes are cursed creatures. I tell people that they're cursed animals. They're only animals that were cursed by God. Only ones I know of is in the Bible that speaks of it. But the devil was trying to get into that Garden of Eden, couldn't get in, and he chose one of the animals, and the snake let him use his form, and that's how he got in. Snakes used to stand upright like this when they would walk. Like cobras, when they stand upright, they used to stand upright when they moved. But the snake got cursed, and he was told that he was going to eat the primal dust for all the days of his life, and that's why he's crawled from the ground. So, that's where that comes from. But anyway, yeah, it's like I said, the whole thing is like it's pretty interesting. That's why I love the Bible, man. There's just so much stuff in there. You read the Bible the first time, it's not the same way the second time. But like I said, Christians, yeah, your body is cursed. So I tell people, like, you don't think your body's cursed? Try to go one day without committing one sin. I mean, not even thinking it either. You can't think it either. Try to go one day. Try that. Try to go one day without committing one sin. You can't think anything bad. You can't think anything evil. You can't even look at it. If you look at a woman the wrong way, it's considered to be adultery. Oh, the Bible is crazy, crazy strict. If you look at a woman the wrong way and you think something unthoughtful in your mind, you already sinned already. They consider that to be I don't know what they consider it to be. They consider it to be is it word for it? But you already sinned. So you have to go through the entire day without committing one sin. No cursing, no thinking of anything, nothing. Bet you can't do it. It's virtually impossible. Your body's cursed. It is. Your body's designed to die, deteriorate, grow old, everything, diseases, everything. Our bodies are plagued. But the beauty thing about our bodies can do amazing things too. Look at the stuff we get to build and design every single day. And amazing things. You watch people do all this parkour stunts and all that stuff. That wow, you can do that with the body. They can train themselves. You can train your body to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Train the mind to be able to think and build and design. So our body's beautiful too, but it also came with a curse because, like I said, because of the fall of man. And that's why animals kill and slaughter each other. That's why you have they call it the circle of life. It's not a circle of life. It's the curse right there. Like I said, animals will always continue to hunt and kill each other. Because the bottom line, at one point, God provided all their food for them, and they didn't need to do that. And now, because the man was cursed because of what he did, and woman was cursed because of what they did, we die. Everything dies on the earth. Everything. So at the end of the day, you have to understand that where are you going to be at when that time comes? I plan to be in heaven, hopefully. If I get there, hopefully I do get to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I really don't want to be here, to tell you honestly. But, honest to truth, that's what it's all about, people. At the end of the day, it's when it comes down to it, I love my company, I love my business, everything I do. But I don't chase the money, I chase God. That's what I do, and that keeps me away from getting caught up in the wrong side of business. Because, like I said, there's a lot of greed, a lot of stuff that goes on in this business. There's a lot of backstabbing that goes on in this business. Any business, you can do a lot of backstabbing, a lot of greed that goes on, but it keeps me away from that path, off that path. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's fire up the projector. Boom! I need to fire the projector. Got the right one, and that's why I've been blessed to get a lot of my stuff too, because. Man, this projector right here, I had to go through some stuff to get this projector. I got the first one, and the guy sent me a dud. I was so mad because I did an unboxing on Facebook, and I was waiting for it to get done. I read all these reviews on it. I liked it. I really wanted it. Got it here. It was a complete dud, and it wasn't working. It was disappointing. So I paid for it all. I learned 2 valuable lessons too. And the next time I pay for something, never pay for anything on my PayPal debit card. That was a bad idea. Because when you pay through stuff to your PayPal debit card, you can't go through the 30-day or 15-day return policy through PayPal to PayPal. You have to go through their credit card institution, which is a freaking nightmare. Oh my goodness. Oh, you ever been through that before? You can agree with me 100% how bad it is. It is really bad. And you bought the projector, mind you. And I had the evidence there. I had the video showing the projector not coming up on camera, everything. And they were like, well, Mr. Bird, it's going to take most likely a month to 90 days. I need a projector a day. So since I've been with PayPal for over 12 years, they gave me a credit for the projector. That's how I was able to buy this one right here for the video. But meanwhile, keep in mind, they can still at any time take the $500 out of my account, and I'll still be up $500. So they contacted the guy. The guy never replied back. That should have been enough right there, right? You would think the guy never replies back, that, within a certain amount of time, but it wasn't enough, because now you're talking about the credit card institution over there, and they wanted evidence of the projector's damage. So bottom line is, they wanted me to go to somebody other than myself. Mind, this is COVID. There's no one else I can go to besides me. They wanted somebody to give an expert opinion on what went wrong with the projector, so that way they can have it for records. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And then, because something happened, I didn't respond fast enough. I lost money out of my account, and then I went back and I had to appeal the account, appeal the complaint through their institution, and then I had to go through another 4 or 5 weeks, or 4 or 5 days of going back and forth to see the status of what's going on in progress with the money I need to have back in my account, because I did nothing wrong. I had all the evidence there. And then the woman was like, well, you can write out they wanted me to write a written statement on how I felt that the projector was damaged and so forth. Now, the good thing of all of this, like I said, God works everything out. I ended up meeting a real nice person on there. I met somebody in their legal department over at PayPal. We're good friends. She's a friend of mine on PayPal. Facebook. She's a good friend on Facebook. And we became real good friends, right? And she helped me with getting through all the red tape of getting my money back and getting my projector from the guy who stole from me. So that's what I said, God works everything out. It's amazing. So I ended up getting a good friend that works from there. And also, too, I got my stuff back. She did the appeal for me. She did all the paperwork and everything, all the little trick questions. She did all that for me, and she got my money back. See, God works everything out. Let's fire up. Fire up. Oh, I keep pressing. Why my projector doesn't come on? I'll tell you why. This right here is the power button. I keep hitting that button. So that's why. And I got my Chrissy. Oh, I love this projector so much. So much. I want another one so bad. I want to do the interchangeable lenses, which I need to buy me another lens. I want to change my lens out. I figure I can get one for a good price, but I got to pray on it and ask what I can get, because who knows. I wonder if this was set up. Yeah, the stand was set up perfectly for here, because I don't have to do any adjusting. When I adjust, my lights go off like crazy. So, what we got planned today, we're going to be putting up, we're going to be messing around with the transparent screen. This is the transparent screen we have here. We're going to do some demonstrations inside. I got the, we're going to run it through a big boy projector, but we're going to use the 69 and 235.1 setting on this one. So I'm setting that up over here for this over here. And then over here, we're going to test out the Chrissies, different Chrissies. These are the ones you can shop for online that will cost you around 100 to 140 bucks. And this one most likely is going to cost you $500. That's it. If my personal opinion on my end, this paired with the gamer paint, if I could get a pallet of these, I would have it. I can't do packages because I have to go out to ship this off. It's a pretty big projector. But I do have somebody who does have a contract with us that can do the packages for us. We can do it that way because he has more flexibility. He can move about better than me. I can't move about like that. But he has more flexibility. He'll probably set up the packages deals, and you probably can buy from his website. But if I could, I would do a gamer package with this projector. Do you have any idea what this projector looks like on gaming? Oh, we done this already. Yeah. Oh my goodness, you have no idea. Man, I'm telling you, if you can find one of these, we're doing this technology with Chrissy. We're showing them videos and stuff like that. We've already submitted emails to them to show them how we're using their old relic projectors to get these amazing looking screens, and they're biting. They're interested. So with that being said, maybe one day I'll get like an 8K in here, whatever, something from them. Who knows? I'm not plugging 8K. You know how big that projector is. I did that one already, and I almost shorted out my house. I had to bring in a battery pack to run the other one. But we'll see what happens from there. God will tell. But anyway, like I said, if you want to do a gaming setup and you don't want to spend a lot of money for a projector, get the gamer paint and buy this projector right here. I guarantee you won't be sorry. You will not be sorry. Trust me. Perfect. And like I said, we can get them on a pallet, and I wish I could, but I can't. I would have packages set up. I throw speakers in there and everything. But we can't get that yet. We'll see what they have. Who knows? They could have a bunch of them getting ready to be trash. Oh, if they have, I'll take them all. I'll take them all, every last one of them. If they got a bunch of them, they're going to trash them, get rid of them, I'll take all of them. I'm going to see if they have a refurbish or something like that. I can go in and make my business tax ID number and basically fill out a couple of forms And I also have a license, so I'll go in and I put all that information in there. So maybe if I can get on maybe one of their planes or something like that, you know, for the companies and stuff like that, maybe I can get their refurbished projectors. Because look what we do with the projectors. They look amazing. And then we can start a package deal where you can actually get the gamer paint package with that Christie 505, you know what I mean? Call it the ultimate package. Put some speakers in there, some crazy LED lights to get you started. That'd be nice. You know what? That's a thought. We got to work on that. That's definitely got to be a thought. We definitely got to work on that. That's what we'll do. We definitely got to work on that. All right. So I'm going to go in and get ready to get set up. And then we're going to go online and we're going to see what kind of projectors they have online for the Christies. Like I said, very good projector to get. You're going to love it. And we're going to actually, mind you, we had the 5,000 lumen 1920 by 12 running right now. We're going to go back. These are 720p. Mind you, if you get the LX400, the LX400 is an XGA, and the LW is a two things you want to look for real quick. Hold on. Pause this for a minute. The two things you want to look for when you look at these projectors. They look exactly alike, but they're not exactly alike. So this projector right here is an LW400. That is a WXGA. This one right here is an LX400. That is XGA. They both look good. We're going to do them side by side so you can see there's really no difference. They're both 4300 lumens. They both have lens shift. They both have HDMIs on the back of them. They have the little handles and stuff, which I like. But the lenses is what you got to look at. Now, the lens here, see how it's tucked inside? That lens right there, it's actually a wide zoom lens, a very nice one. But this lens right here is a detail lens, which means this dental refines the image and makes it much more sharper, brighter, gives you a much more refined image because of the lens. See how the difference now? You would have noticed that. One has a bridge, doesn't have a bridge. If you find one without a bridge, buy it. That one has a special lens in it to refine the image to make it sharper and brighter. It kind of makes a 720p look close to a 1080p. It does. Very close to it because of that special lens on it. So if you find one where it's sticking out without that bridge, buy that projector. Because that lens, eventually, whoever had the projector, remove the lens out and put it back in. I got one of those upstairs. Now, if you find one that's a short throw, you better get it. You know how hard it is to get a short throw Christie projector? I had one in here, and unfortunately the one I had in here had some problems with it and had to dismantle it, take the parts, and I sold the parts. Because for some reason it kept giving me this like this greenish on the side of the screen. So I sold the lens and I sold the filter. I got good money for it too. I actually got more than what I paid for the projector. And that's usually what happens when you buy projectors. When you buy, one thing I like about the Christies, you will get the lens with them. When you're dealing with barcode, Ronco, some of those projectors, they'll be missing the lenses. And then the parts are like a freaking out of this world expensive. So, there you go. All right, I got to go. Thank you all for taking the time. I got to be back in. I still have more demonstrations to do. Sun's popping up right now. And I got to get my day started. Thank you all for your time. Got to go, and God bless.